Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this replay. Gun now moving away, not wanting to engage down here at this front door. There are a couple spine crawlers here already being morphed in, and now those immortals are going to make very short work of these destructible rocks. Those immortals dealing 50 damage a shot. Zealots and stalkers also getting a couple hits in as well. And now with that infestor on that high ground, perhaps we'll see a fungal growth to try to stop these units in their track. No, not quite yet. Army-wise, Gun still sitting on the larger army, but playing very, I don't know if you would call it conservatively, or, oh, what is he coming? Using that infestor, and that was just very nice, trying to use those immortals and just trying to use that against them, but still, those immortals in that back, those immortals, because they were in the back, overexpose those infestors, and those infestors were not really working out all too well. Infestors can spawn infested Terrans. Those infested Terrans do not move nearly as quickly, and now in comes those immortals trying to come in, trying to deal damage, and in comes another Neuro Parasite. Finally a decent Neuro Parasite on that immortal, as that immortal is just focusing down those stalkers. That immortal already getting 4 kills, and that's a majority of stalker kills. Down goes that infestor, but still that was 4 stalkers that have been quickly switched around, and now Gun a little bit behind in terms of this fight, as there's only a couple stalkers left. Hydralisk continuing to deal that damage. And one of the things I wish they would fix is a building that looks like it's about to be morphed in, and doesn't have that little shadowy texture that was in the original patch, I believe before patch 8. So it looked as though that building was already in play, as opposed to having a little bit of that transparency. Blizzard, I know some of you guys subscribe to my videos, could you go ahead and report that bug as well? It's difficult to try to do replays and shoutcasts on videos when you believe a building is already down and then you see a drone start morphing into it. Back over here, Gun now taking this natural blue mineral expansion, and this is more of the Zerg expansion based upon this back door. So this is a very gutsy move by Gun. Gun getting a couple photon cannons in position in order to try to protect this. Has not taken this high yield one yet, as CHRiSYOON does have an overlord in the air. Also, we have another pylon B built in. CHRiSYOON dropping an extractor in order to keep tabs on that one building. But however, that pylon's quickly going to get taken down. Down goes that probe as well. So Gun going to take a little bit of losses here. And CHRiSYOON has 1-0 upgrades on those Hydralisks and those Roaches. Stalkers have 1-0 or 101 upgrades, so has 2 armor as well, but no shield upgrades, which is a little bit of a surprise. I don't quite understand why a lot of Protoss players don't want to upgrade their shields. Their shields are just so powerful and so useful that it would seem that you would always want to try to upgrade the shields on those buildings. Extractor now going to get taken down, so CHRiSYOON with that drone just trying to keep that expansion, and now it looks as though CHRiSYOON is taking, yes, in fact, taking this high yield mineral expansion over here on the bottom right hand corner. Overlord now once again taken down. Gun activating this Zelnaga watchtower, and does not know about that high yield mineral expansion, and now gonna go ahead and move an observer over there. Should be able to make short work of that. We now have an overseer cocoon now being morphed in, so changelings will be able to scout out across the map as well. Back over here, Immortals, once they have seen this high yield mineral expansion, will want to take it out. So Gun with that observer in the air, and now those stalkers and those Immortals with those sentries going to try to make short work of that. Sentries may have enough energy for force fields. Very nice, nicely done, making it so that those units have to come back around. However, those infestors are now in position, trying to get more Neuro Parasites off. Those Immortals now starting to shoot back against those other units. For some reason, CHRiSYOON finally coming in. Stalkers with Blink, though, a very strong counter to those infestors, able to close up that distance, but still gonna be too much. So CHRiSYOON with this Hydralisk Roach army able to produce a lot of units. However, Stalkers sitting on this back door and just sitting there not doing anything. For some reason, not attacking, not engaging, finally moving in. Single Queen has too much energy, and now those Stalkers going to quickly try to make short work of these units. Roaches now coming in. Those Stalkers able to move and attack, continually blinking. Spine Crawlers now being walked in. Yeah, that building, that is not a real building, as that building's going to be once again burrowed back into position, and rooted back into position, and down goes the rest of that Stalker army. However, back over here we have Hydralisks and Roaches now making short work of Gun's natural expansion. So Gun's natural expansion going to be taken down. Zealots trying to come in. Stalkers on the high ground also engaging, but CHRiSYOON just has a dominating army at 30 at 3,050 minerals compared to 425, and Gun looks to be in a very a difficult situation at this time. Down goes another a probe, and now those Stalkers just being microed. No burrow research, however. Stalkers trying to focus down these units. Only one mineral patch left for Gun, and down goes another warp gate. Robotics facility gonna come online as we have an Immortal gonna make short work of some of those roaches. But now, that Immortal doing a little bit of a kiting. Down goes that Forge. Stalkers continuing to move and attack. Those really needs to either focus down this Immortal or focus down some of these sentries. Somehow, Gun was able to macro up enough units off of these 3 warp gates and fend off this attack. So, CHRiSYOON's army now down to 1,500 as those Stalkers continue to warp in, and Gun able to hold off that attack. However, CHRiSYOON now taking a dominating lead in terms of base count, and currently running off of 1 base, gonna be able to run off of a high yield mineral expansion in just a moment, and also gonna be able to run off of this hatchery as well. But Stalker now coming in, trying to take down this hatchery, and all that needs to happen is a couple of Zerglings. Well, I do not agree with this. Warping in drones, not the building units you really want to be warping in at this stage, as those Stalkers now coming in as well. Roaches now trying to make short work of those units, blinking off onto that high ground. That one Stalker is sitting there attacking, not going to really get anything done. More Roaches once again on that engagement. The Roaches are still upgraded 1-0, and that hatchery quickly. Oh, we have a couple of Changelings in play as that hatchery gonna get taken down by that Zealot. So nicely done, nice micro there. Gonna lose lose that single Zealot, however, and now another Zealot getting taken down. So drones now being transferred back to this high yield mineral. CHRiSYOON now getting a couple of these, getting expansions as well. Gonna try to take down that last observer. Observer taken down. So, very interesting. I wonder how that works. So level 2. So yes, the Queen receives the range upgrade even on its claw attack. So did not know that. If you did know that, yeah, I guess that's not new to you. Roaches and Infestors with those Hydralisks gonna move on in, and quickly coming in on the Immortal, using those Overlords in order to try to make it difficult to try to focus down any of those Stalkers. So nicely done, continuing to try to focus down those units. Are we gonna get another Nero Parasite? So CHRiSYOON microwing those Overlords on top of those, on top of that Infestor in order to make it very difficult to focus fire that one Infestor that was trying to essentially mind control that Immortal. Stalkers now running up on this backside, will be able to get down a couple tech buildings. No, not able to, as here we have another engagement. Infestor quickly taken out, however, Gun now trying to move in as those Roaches now going to be pushing in. Those Hydralisks and Roaches really need to try to do a little bit of an entrapment move, and yes, nicely done. Gun now down to an 875 mineral army, but gonna come across. No, does CHRiSYOON even know about this yet? Yes, he does know about this, but is not has not decided to do anything about it. I'm still a little bit surprised that CHRiSYOON has not gone for Greater Spire and Broodlords. He definitely has the gas for it, so he can definitely try to push into this position, running headlong into these cannons. And now finally able to take him down. Stalkers will be coming in from this back and trying to take down and try to salvage this expansion. So now trying to take down this Nexus down to 600 hit points, and now for some reason no longer trying to take it down, and that is a mistake by Chris. Chris gonna essentially lose all of these units without stopping the mining at this natural expansion. Gun now moving away with the rest of these units, sitting on a 1775. Income is at about 1,000 a minute versus CHRiSYOON's 1,300. 47 harvesters for Chris versus 36 harvesters for Gun. So both players constantly playing a back and forth battle on this map. Chris now may lose this high yield mineral expansion, however. The Queen quickly going to get taken down by the focus fire of these Stalkers. Drones now trying to be saved as that hatchery now coming in, or as that hatchery going to get taken down. Spawn larva now here, and now those Zealots, or those Changelings once again trying to do a little bit of additional scouting. Stay tuned for part 3 of this replay between Gun and CHRiSYOON here on Blistering Sands.